Would I recommend working an overnight shift for any sort of long-term situation? Probably not. I mean, for myself, it's been a struggle. I work part-time at Amazon, and for 3 days a week, I have a shift that's 8 p.m. to 4:45 a.m. As you know, a normal morning shift is actually 8 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. You know, your typical 8 to 5, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. shift. That's your typical morning conventional commuting time shift. And, you know, when you're working graveyard, it's complete opposite of society. Um, Complete opposite of that. And then, of course, there's also the swing shift, as they call it, or the second shift, which is, you know, you kind of like a restaurant shift. You work 11 or 12 all the way to like 8 p.m. at night, or you get off at 10:30 or whatever, and then you start work like at 2. Those are other types of shifts. Those are also normal, because it is in the flow of what a normal human being uh, is expected to sleep. And even if you're doing like a swing or a second shift, you still go to bed at night and you still wake up and are mostly around in the daytime. When you're doing the overnight shift, then you're literally going to bed in the morning, and then your prime time, which is your working time, is at night. And some random observations that I've noticed in doing overnight now for more than a year. Um, a lot of people complain when they do kind of do like your standard white collar jobs when you're in the office all day and you're indoors all day. They complain that they don't see the sunlight much, only like a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes while they're driving home. The rest is nighttime. When you're working the overnight shift, unfortunately, it's the complete opposite. You rarely see night because you go in, it's at nighttime or the sun is setting or whatever, and then you come out. You know, it's the break of dawn and it's almost time for sunrise again. So me, you know, I actually like the night and I like seeing the night. So working indoors, it is a difference because I don't get to see night. I'm indoors at night and I get to see daytime a lot. So it is different. And another observation, of course, is that your schedule is so opposite of other people that it's really hard to coordinate times like talking to people, because it's almost like if you're living, if you have a West Coast East Coast type of time zone difference, or even like a different country. um you know, one person's in Europe, one person's in the US, then it's similar to that, where you have a limited short window where both people are not working and you can communicate and before one person's time to go to bed. And it's really quite a difference than if everyone's on the same schedule, or even if you're on a second shift type of schedule. So it's things to consider, things that I didn't truly think about when I decided to take a night shift. And lastly, when you wake, unfortunately, the rest of the world, it runs in the daytime. So you could be getting all types of phone calls when that you actually need to answer in the daytime when you're trying to sleep. Or, of course, when you're trying to sleep, you have your landscapers outside with relief blowers. You have the ice cream truck going. You have kids playing and yelling. You have the dogs going crazy. You have a loud motorcycles. All the stuff that generates a lot of noise. So it is hard to get into any type of deep sleep during, um, while you're trying to sleep in the daytime, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon. Afternoon is even worse because that's when people start to get off work and there's an ice cream truck or there's kids playing. So it's especially loud in the afternoon. And then when it comes to sleep, it's important. I read a book on sleep, the importance of sleep, with Dr. Matthew Walker. And in the book, it says it's important no matter what type of what your sleep schedule is, to be consistent in what time you go to bed and what time you wake up every morning. And that will help your sleeping, so you're not your chances of insomnia are much less and you're more refreshed, because your body follows natural rhythms, circadian rhythms. And unfortunately, with the night shift, I work 3 days a week, so then the rest, doing overnight, the rest of my week I have another job, which is on a different schedule. And then so your sleep isn't consistent. And even if you only work the night shift, let's say you work like the night shift 5 days a week, during the other 2 days, you're bound to have different sleep schedules also, because the rest of the world operates in the daytime, and you have to run errands, and there are certain phone calls you have to make, and a whole bunch of stuff, or you need to go to church, or you have social functions to attend to. All that stuff operates in a normal person's time clock. So even if you're doing overnight several days a week, your sleep schedule is still going to be messed up, because you have to adapt to the rest of the world to get chores done and to run errands, etc., etc. So overall, these are some thoughts about working overnight. Would I recommend working overnight? Probably not if I had a choice. I do like this, a swing type shift, a second shift. I'm not naturally a morning person, but overall, both the morning standard shift and a swing type shift are better than an overnight graveyard type of shift, because those two correspond with how the world operates. But people that work overnight are very down to earth and cool, and you kind of there's a feeling of there's a brotherhood type of feeling, a feeling of camaraderie for people that are fellow overnight people, fellow graveyard people. So overall, I've learned a lot working overnight, but I hope in the future I can go back to a more normal type of sleep schedule.